Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We are going to be working on some comic stuff. And I think outside of, actually, let's say outside of what I'm normally doing, but going forward, well, no. By the time this video is up, I'll already have some comic stuff on my channel, so no need to try to go over that. But anyway, we're still working on these thumbnails here. In the last video, you guys pretty much watched me play all. You guys pretty much watched me do a what is it? I'm trying to get to it on Procreate. You guys watched me put together a rough layout from 3D models to create this. So I'm going to actually transfer this to a piece of paper and then slowly work over the details. I was thinking about doing it at one point, doing it digitally, but I genuinely do prefer to try to do it traditionally. Just so I can kind of, I don't know what it is, but the mindset that I have when it comes to digital versus traditional is a little bit different. So we're going to do everything traditionally as far as this goes, as far as the layout, sketching this in, and then we'll go from there. So the main chick, she's gonna be the bigger person here. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see the pencil sketch because it is extremely light. And I'm lightly sketching it in. I'll do the what is it? Stick figure. Can't think for a second. I'll do the stick figure for the character. And then we'll go from there. So everything is extremely rough. There's no need to finalize anything at the moment. So I've got one character in, which is the main chick here. I might need to make her bigger. We'll see. The other guy's up here. He's going to be slightly taller than her. So roughing the head in here. I'm probably gonna need to make her bigger. And this guy's just here. Might need to lower him some actually. probably gonna make her bigger. Because I want her to stand out more than anyone else, so. Doing the stick figure is definitely beneficial because I can make the necessary adjustments that I need to with these characters without feeling like I need to lower this guy some, without feeling like I just invested a whole bunch of time into something that's just not gonna to work. So I can get the placement in of the character before I start going into the details. So, actually, and that helps because I don't feel like I'm wasting a whole bunch of time, or like I don't want to change something after I already invested so much time in drawing the figure out. Like if I were to start drawing these out in the mannequin form, I would definitely be more hesitant to change anything or move anything or make any adjustments, because the amount of time that I would have spent doing said mannequin. So start out with a stick figure if you're planning on doing stuff, because that way you can get the layout and stuff right, and then you can go back in and then adjust everything later. And the other person is here, the other chick. Probably won't even see much of her. There's not too much draw through that I have to do with her outside of this arm here. And I'll do the shoulder of that arm, but because most likely this is going to end up being covered anyway. This shoulder, at least by this guy's head. This shoulder will most likely show, but the arm isn't going to show. So we'll leave it that way. We've got the guy over here. So bring this down so you guys can actually see. I don't even know if you guys can see the pencil lines here, because this is a lighter lead. I don't know exactly what I think it might be 2H or an H. You might see the shoulder on this side. You're clearly not going to see the shoulder on this side because this guy's head. But we'll lay that out there. And then we've got the two characters in the back. Show you what I'm talking about, just in case you can't see. I'm going to sketch these two females in. And everything's just stick figures. There's no definition or differential right now between the female and male anatomy. All of that can be changed or added when I do this. So her hip is most likely going to be cut off, but I do want to draw it in just in case, because I think you might see some of her arm here. There we go. So that's that one. And then we've got this character over here. Now remember, this is just to work out the lighting. This isn't like a final or anything like that. So after I get this in, what we'll end up doing is like this one, kind of like how, well, not kind of, but exactly how we did this one. I'll bring out the light box, trace it multiple times, so that way I can experiment with the lighting. Now, I know this is a little bit different from what it looked like last time, but pretty much what I did was I cut out the individual pieces and I put it on one sheet, on a separate piece of paper. That way it's all on one sheet. As I've told you guys before, I like to keep all of my stuff for the most part together when it comes to when it comes to Lynk. So these are all the practice covers, or the practice lighting for the covers, all on one sheet. So I have that. I still have the original that I did here. This was what I used to trace to create these. So, and then of course the lighting options that I decided to go with. So, or try out anyway. So we got that one. So it's just this character next that we need to work on. I drew her head too big, so I had to erase her. And then chest here, drew the chest too big, but that's fine. You might not even see her hand. That we'll decide later. So maybe or maybe not. We'll see. Probably not, because that'll be the hip area. So thumbnail, or I'm not sure if you guys can. Yeah, you guys can see it. So bring this up some more. So the stick figures are and so this is my process of how I'll do this. So thumbnails, of course, first. Then after the thumbnails, as far as like when I'm trying to get where I'm at right now, we'll do stick figures. Then we will do, let me see here. Oh, excuse me, jeez. Sorry, between when I got off of work, came home, got a few hours of sleep, and then I was up before 9, which normally on a normal day that's late for me, but because I didn't get off of work until the AM, for me it's the day after I get off of work, or the day I get off of work, because I work overnights, is my sleep schedule is a little bit different. All right, so we've got the stick figures, then we've got the mannequin, and then we'll do clothing, I think clothing / armor, and then we'll do the lighting and rendering / texture and all the rest of that. So that's the process that I'm going in. That's the process I'm thinking about at the moment when it comes to this. So now I'm not too worried about the face as far as the what the character is actually going to look like. So I'm going to lay out the head as far as like the planes of the face. So that way, bruh, what's going on with this? Change model head, lighting, spotlight, lighting. Sorry guys, I'm changing my lighting here real quick. Bottom. There we go. I'm trying to, there we go. There we go. Okay. So let's do the mannequin. Right now I'm not looking at perfection. I'm just looking at getting this stuff in. Her head's gonna be a little bit bigger, so I do want to correct that with this. I do want to try to make sure the proportions are somewhat correct with what I'm kind of envisioning. Is that even a word? What I envision with this particular image. So if I want her head to be this big, so that way she looks like she's the center, I need to make sure I do that because the proportions for the rest of the body are going to follow the proportions of the head. So hold on guys, that's a cat. That's a cat acting up. Sylvie, stop it. We done. Tiger, no. Sylvie, what are you doing, honey? What you doing? You gonna leave Tiger alone? Yeah, she's just minding her own business. All right. Sorry. Sylvie is starting to venture closer to Tiger, but I'm still not sure how the two are going to do. And I mean, it's not a huge deal because I'm just fostering Sylvia for a little bit while her normal foster is on vacation. So it's not like she has to interact with Tiger, but yeah. So we're gonna roughly. And now she's whining because she's on the other side of the door because I've got Tiger in the living room area with me, and Sylvia is in the back area of the house, of the apartment anyway. So we are going to just slightly so that's all I need to do right now for the face. Excuse me. That's all I need to do right now for the face. Procreate. So I'm gonna start roughing in the hold on for a sec, guys. All right, Sylvie's being a menace, so constantly having to go in and go out or stop it and come back. All right, but that's okay, she can be a menace. While I am drawing, I do have music playing. that you guys cannot hear. I think her rib cage is going to have a rib cage here. So the rib cage, I think, is what, a head and a half, give or take. So a little bit more than a head, I think. Where is my? Here we go. Oy. My good old book here that has my studies and stuff in. Honestly, I'm just looking at proportions. That's all I'm focusing on. So, it's a little bit more than a head. It's like a head and a quarter, give or take. Which is pretty much, I think, where this particular figure is. Now, normally it doesn't have to be, honestly, technically it doesn't have to be perfect at all, but maybe we'll try to work on that, getting a little bit more loose with my my art here, without being trying to be so precious with the art here. Especially during these sketching phases where we're not worried about detail, we're just worried about getting the stuff in. So right now this is just the midsection, so I'm going to focus on just bringing that technically, well, no, we'll just do this. We'll just do the whole midsection as one form. So I'm not playing the guessing game here. There we go. And then we're looking at the hips here. So this would be the extension of the lower part of the abs, but you've got the hips, which I'm going to expand out slightly. And I know there are people who are like, if you want to make your women seem more feminine, widen the hips, and that's fine because of that area. What, for me in particular, what I think I'm going to do with women is, because women have more of the triangle, right, wider at the bottom near the hip area. So what I think I'm going to do is, if this was the crotch area, right, I want the widest part to be near the actual hips of the leg, because of the bone here that's going to push that out further. So I don't want this part to be the widest, the pelvic area. I want the actual hip of the legs to be the widest part. So you're not going to really see that, I don't think, on this character. I mean, I can expand it out some to make it look like, yeah, it's starting to get there. It's pushing out, but it's not going to be too much of it, honestly. Tiger, stop. Stop it. So now that we have that part done, we're going to work on the we're gonna work on the collarbone area. And she's not gonna have wide shoulders, so I don't need her having extremely wide shoulders to go. So I think that's good enough right there. And then if I were to bring the shoulders in, or do the shoulders, like I'm going to do an oval here. All the other stuff I can, like I said, this is just a mannequin stage, so I'm not trying to be perfect. We're going to, excuse me, do what are these called? Cylinders for the arms. So that stuff is going to go here. I'm not too worried about the details, like the muscles and stuff like that. Which I guess that would be in between the area where, like right before the clothing and armor, I would probably, if I wanted to do like the muscles there, which I might end up doing to make sure that I have everything in there correctly and everything is forming correctly. This would be your belly button area. And then Tiger, she's in the room, honey. She's in the room. Tiger is looking for Sylvia, so she's in the room, honey. So what I am gonna do, because I did with the head, cut off the edges slightly because the head isn't perfectly round. There we go. Just so I have that clarification there. So now we're gonna work on this guy here. I'm not gonna do anything else with this guy. I want to get or this woman, this figure. I'm gonna get everyone else locked in, and then we'll go to the next one, the next stage. So, honestly, I wasn't even gonna draw today. It was kind of, I don't know, I've been kind of, I was in this feeling today of like feeling kind of lost and not sure what I was going to do, which is weird because it's like with this particular comic, like I had so much stuff that I can work on when it comes to this comic, dealing with the but like dealing with fleshing out some more of the character designs and creating other stuff for the characters, like weapons and outfits, and kind of find out, buildings and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, I felt like I just didn't know what I was going to work on at first. So I wasn't going to start at all. But I know that if I wouldn't have done anything, then I probably would have felt like crap later. Then the back of the neck is longer. I'm just gonna do this. So I'm doing that circle, because this is like that divot before, like where that spacing between your clavicles. So that usually helps me determine the turn of the rib cage, because you're gonna have the sternum that comes down here from there, from the center of where this is, and I can kind of go from there. And even if I do it this way, but yeah, I know if I wouldn't have done something today, I would have probably felt like garbage tomorrow, or that I didn't do enough. And I know there are times where, like, you know, rest is good. Like, I understand that. But it would have been more of, I would have let my emotions get in the way of just like feeling lost for not doing anything, instead of just picking something to work on. And I know when it comes to me trying to do this as a career, like, you can't really function like that, probably, just because there's going to be probably days where I'm going to not want to do anything, or where I'm going to feel completely lost in my sorry guys, I'm trying to get this here. Completely lost, and you know, that's not I can't allow emotions to dictate if I'm going to work on something that day or not, especially if I'm trying to create art. I mean, sometimes you just have to kind of that's what I'm looking for. Sometimes you just gotta power through it. And like I said, I know it's not like a situation where I feel like I needed rest. It was just, for whatever reason, I felt like I didn't know where to go, I guess would be the correct thing. But I mean, there was definitely plenty of places I could go. I think I was just letting fear and get to me, and almost preventing me from doing any work. Tiger, home. Let me see if she's got to go out. All right. So So I took a quick break to take Tiger out. You guys didn't really notice because I stopped the recording, but we're back at it again. I'm pretty sure Tiger will come annoy me in 5 seconds as she's waiting on her food, as it is soaking in the kitchen right now. I have to loosen up her food, or soak it in hot water to loosen it up, because Tiger has a habit of just kind of wolfing it down. And I think that's because she used to be on the streets. So I do that so she doesn't start choking on her food, because she is trying to just guzzle it down. So I am measuring where the elbow is, because I want to make sure that when I'm doing this part, I'm doing it correctly as far as where the arm is gonna, the measurements of the arm are gonna be correct. So I feel like his head is too small, but we can always adjust that later. Actually, I can adjust it now. It won't be too much of an issue. I feel like it was too small compared to her, but so of course this will all be, I'll go back in later and adjust this accordingly. So, but that's done. This particular character is sketched out for the oh my gosh, the figure. Jesus. I'm also probably gonna play with shapes of the characters, because we're gonna have like thinner characters, larger characters, buff characters, stuff like that. So this particular character this is another guy, isn't it? I think it's another guy. It's another guy. So what I might do is have, maybe this will be a thinner guy. He'll be thin. He'll be a thinner guy. And in order for me to remember that this guy is going to be a thinner character versus like a more muscular character, is I'm going to adjust his mannequin to reflect that. So his head's more tilted down, which is fine. He'll maybe have a thinner jaw. And this doesn't really matter. All this stuff in the face, all of that can be adjusted later, but he's gonna have a thinner neck, because he's going to be thinner, but not too thin. But he's definitely not going to have as defined muscles. So we will I'll even shrink his rib cage to indicate tiger. No. Tiger is hounding me because she's waiting on her food that is soaking. So she is going to be hounding me for a little bit when it comes to that. So, like, even like this guy, you can see that like I kind of have his lats. Yeah, the latissimus dorsi muscles kind of flare out more here, and then the love handle area. I forgot what these the obliques, and then the hip area would be here. But this guy, what I'm gonna do, tiger, it's coming, honey. It's got to soak. So we're gonna have the love handles. All right. I need to make his torso a little bit longer. And maybe he's one of those people that they just have like a long torso. So it's always good to kind of, I mean, you can always look at reference, right? But just kind of being observant, I guess would be the word, right? And in your everyday life, right? Because you have people who, and I know like if you follow like if you are doing these, what's the word I'm looking for? Standardized, quote unquote, standardized characters that you get in books and stuff, you know, the characters either 7.5 or 8 heads tall, everything's like perfectly proportioned, yada yada yada, right? And that's not the case when you're talking about real life. So if you pay attention, like you're gonna see people who they have longer necks, right? And people who have like longer torsos in their legs, or they have longer legs compared to their torsos, or they have more, I'm gonna say compressed, like their faces are smaller versus like your standard heroic figure, I guess. You have guys who are thin and not very muscular, and then you have women who are very muscular, or they are wider at the hips, but not so much going on at the top, or vice versa. Same thing with men. I mean, there are some dudes out there who just naturally have like bigger butts. So like it's stuff that you normally don't see in like comics, like a lot of the diversity of like everyday people. And I know like a lot of that stuff might be reserved for background characters that you may not even really pay attention to or even see. But I think also having those characters who play important roles or contribute to the story is also beneficial. Like in one of the videos that I go over like the different body types that I'm talking about incorporating into the comic. I mean, we've got a female character who's more of what you might consider in like D&D like a brute character, you know, very stocky type character. Actually I need to make these arms thinner because this is too muscular, honestly. But having those characters where these are the type of characters that other people can see themselves in. So yeah, thinner arm because he's a smaller guy here, and then that means we can probably do tigers like woman. Where the hell's my food at? And because this is a fantasy world, and you have characters who use magic on a regular basis, you're going to have characters who are going to be thin, they're going to be muscular, they're going to be wider. This is this guy here. So I want to make sure that I'm having a variety of those characters, and also kind of playing some of those characters out in my cover as well. I know some people might be like, "Oh, that's, you know, being woke and yada yada." Diversity is not being woke. Diversity is diversity. Diversity is an everyday thing that is part of life. So what the heck is in my eraser? I don't know what the heck this is, but whatever. So yeah, I like that. Okay, there we go. But yeah, don't be afraid to, if you want to add diversity in your comics, don't be afraid to do so, just because some people might have an issue with it. You create what you want to create, and you'll find the right people that'll like it. So yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people who think that having black characters is now being woke, but yet, I mean, you had, if we're talking about like old school comics, I mean, you had Black Panther, you've got Storm, you've got a lot of other black characters. That even one of the, I'm not sure the name, I said I never really was a big fan of DC or Marvel, but like even the Black there's a Black Lantern, a Black Green Lantern out there. So there are characters of colors and different ethnicities and yada yada yada, and it's okay to create those characters if that's what you want to create. It's coming, Tiger. It's all right. Let me get her food before she continues to nag me like she hasn't been fed in the past. Like she hasn't been fed at all. All right, come on. Okay, I'm coming. Out of my kitchen. Out. All right. Where are we at time wise? I can't tell. Excuse me. Excuse me, jeez. But yeah, I want to include those characters. Like I think one of these women back here, maybe both. No, they're both women. Damn. One of the women, I'll do like the brute type character, I think. Like, so she'll be a little bit stockier. And a lot of the inspiration I got from, or not a lot of the inspiration, but the kind of the inspiration I got from those particular characters are the power lifters and the strong man, strong woman competitions, because those people are a lot, they look different than your average, or I'll say, quote unquote, your normal athlete, or the assumption of what a normal athlete body would look like. Even people do like the what is it called when they have to throw like the metal ball? I can't think of it. But those people, their bodies, they have a different body type than what you would see from someone who does like sprinting. And sprinting, those people have different bodies than those people you would see do long distance running, and those people who do long distance running have a different body type than let me see, someone who does powerlifting or competitive like deadlifting and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that I am adding variety, because I don't want to continue to just draw the same body type over and over and over again. I think that would get boring for me personally. But you know, to each his own. And you always can tell people that they have an issue with how you draw something. If you don't like it, you don't have to read it. There's always that option of just not getting it, not picking it up, not looking at it, and go find something that you do like, and stay out my face. So, you know, there's that. So this particular character probably should have brought the rib cage up a little bit, but once again, we're just in the mannequin stage, so I can rough out these muscles slightly. I wish I had another guy, but I want to keep it 7 because of there'll be some symbolism to, there's some symbolism to that I'm not gonna go into, because I don't want to just mess up anything with the story. But I wish I could do like a big burly dude, like, but I feel like if I do that, that's gonna take away from this character, so I don't want to do that. She's gonna be burly up here, or she's gonna be stockier. This one will probably be average, and then this one will be, no, I'm gonna change that around. This one's gonna be thin. This one's gonna be stocky. This one will be average. So that way you'll have one skinny, excuse me, one skinny person on each side. I don't want to do another skinny person on here because we already have someone who's going to be skinny here. So I'll do this character who will be the skinny type as well. Hi, baby. So and okay, I need to get water. Hi, baby girl. Watch out. Go lay down. No, you ate your food. It's done. It's done. So, excuse me. I have not been did not drink as much water as I should have today. So, but what I was about to say was when you're working on, whether it be a project, like a large project like I'm working on, like a comic, or maybe you're working on an illustration, don't feel like if it takes you a week type. But if you're working on a project, an illustration, whatever the case may be, one thing I am also learning with this, so don't feel like I have it down packed, because I definitely do not. Go at your own pace. I mean, yeah, you still want to make sure you're getting the work done, so, you know, don't procrastinate. But if it takes you, I want to say, a week to do a piece, whether that be you working on it for a few hours a day, or however your schedule will allow you to work on that piece, then do that, and don't feel like you have to get it done. Sorry, got my headphones on. I feel like I'm speaking louder than I need to. Don't feel like you need to rush through something just because of what you might see on social media. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my other videos, just because of how I've been recording stuff. But one thing I've been doing lately is I have been limiting my social media intake to the point where I've literally unfollowed a good chunk of artists that I used to follow, because it was affecting, I think I had talked about this, but it was affecting my mental health, and how I was comparing myself to these creators and feeling like I was not measuring up, and I was not meeting the expectations that I thought I should be making. Actually, this was so. Tiger, stop it! Stop it! So if you have to limit your social media, or do what you gotta do to make sure that you're not comparing yourself too bad to others. Saw this one guy. He has some extremely detailed work. Like, it's gorgeous work, by the way, too. Like, it is amazing work. But I was reading the captions, and he was talking about how, like, it took him over a month, or it took him a month to create this piece, and it was a highly detailed pencil drawing illustration, and I could say the paper probably wasn't, I can only assume based on the viewing from my screen in comparison, but it didn't look like it was any more, or it was any bigger than a 8x11, like a normal size, like US paper. But the illustration was a circle in the center of the paper, so there was all this extra white space because of the circle because of the space the image was taking was in a circle in the center of the page, and just that image alone took him a month. So it's not like he did the whole entire piece of paper and that took him a month. It was a certain amount of space within that paper, and it was what some people might consider a small piece of paper. It was it looked like 11 by 8 or 8 by 11, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it took him a month to create this illustration. So don't ever feel like that you have to get something done within like 2 days or 3 days or a few hours, because some people just don't work like that. With this, I'm trying to figure out, she's got wider hips. With this particular, here, I'll have to figure this out later. But with this particular cover, it has taken me, I'm gonna say maybe 4 or 5 days of working on it to get to where I'm at right now. But yeah, it's taken me multiple days to get to where I'm at. Like from between thumbnailing, the sketches, the final, between thumbnailing, centering on the final thumbnail, figuring out lighting, and honestly, to me, and it doesn't seem like I've done much. I feel like there are certain days where I probably could have gotten more done, but I know at the same time, there were times where, trying to figure out the thumbnailing of the cover, because I did multiple covers to try to figure out what I wanted. That took a lot of brain power, of thinking and trying to work stuff out, and honestly, it drained me. So after I had set on something, committed to this particular layout, I didn't want to do anything. After that required a lot of brain power. An example would be when I did the thumbnails for the possible costumes and outfits for this comic. That took a lot of brain power to try to sit there and come up with multiple different outfits and combinations and stuff, even with looking at reference that I could put down and look at later and have, future inspiration or start finalizing some of those ideas. And that took me a matter of maybe 2 or 3 days. I think I want to say more on the larger end, more on the 3-day side, because that stuff was just mentally taxing. Trying to think of stuff, even with looking at reference, just mentally exhausting when it comes to trying to think about all the possibilities and coming up with ideas. It does take a lot out of you. So if you have to do that, or do something over a certain amount of days, go ahead and do that. Right now with sketching this stuff out, there's not really I'm not really using a lot of brain power. Even with sketching out the Sylvia's whining again, but even with the mannequin, sketching these mannequins in, it's not taking a lot of brain power, a lot of energy. And one reason might be because not only did I spend the time to create multiple references for me to look at, including a more detailed reference that I can pretty much just look at and translate here. I mean, it's not one for one, but I mean, it's pretty close. But because I've also drawn mannequins over and over and over again through the course of years, it's gotten easier for me, so it doesn't require as much brain power for me to really think about how I'm going to lay all this stuff out. Now, if I haven't been, working on, I feel like this is going to come in here. Now, say I feel like her chest is too big. Well, no, because it's coming. This is going to probably go in more. But, this is just the angle here. Like this part is catching me right now. But honestly, probably not gonna see any of that. It's just gonna be this side, honestly. But because I've drawn, and she's gonna be normal average size. I want to say normal average size character. But because I've drawn the mannequin multiple times, it's easier for me. Now, if it was probably a situation where I didn't draw the mannequin very often, then it would probably take me a lot longer and a lot more energy to actually be able to sketch this out, because I would genuinely have to think a lot more before putting these mannequins down. That's only when I have certain areas where, like, and trying to figure out, and it's a little bit of a challenge for me, that I'm like, okay, let me think about this. But once I get that down, like, I feel like this arm is probably too thick, but we can always work on that later. But once I've got that part down, but once I've got, like, if I come across a part that I'm struggling on, most likely it's not something that it's because it's something that I don't draw often. So I'll struggle a little bit, but like anything, if you continue to draw it over and over again and you get used to it and you learn from that, the next time you do it, it becomes that much easier, which means you don't have to use as much brain power to do it. So if you're doing mannequins, or if you're trying to create a project or a pose, and it takes you it takes you a while to figure something out. Why would you slam the door like that to figure something out? That's okay if it's something that you're not used to drawing. Now, for example, if I didn't have references for these particular poses, it might take me a lot longer to figure some of this stuff out, because it's not something that I draw on a consistent basis. So this character is going to be stockier. So I'm going to do here, and then here, and then here. But, like, even certain angles I don't draw very often, so it's throwing me off. Like this particular one right here is throwing me off, because it's not something I draw often. And I think what it is the angle that I'm having this character look at. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do here. And sometimes you have to do it, you have to figure out a way that works best for you, and then you can go back and edit it from there. Like, oh, her face is too long. Face is way too long. It's not what I wanted. But, and then, but, I go here. And like even these characters, like the sharp jaws and stuff like that, like all of that can definitely be changed later. I'm just looking to get in the get the character in, so roughing this stuff out. And then she's gonna have a little bit of a thicker neck because she's gonna be more stocky. And then I will adjust everything else accordingly, but. And for me, like you gotta figure out what works right for you. Cause like for me, just laying in a cylinder for the head doesn't work. I need to figure out where that angle is for the chest. So me putting this circle in to kind of help figure out where that dip in is in the neck, but with the collarbones, that works for me. That helps me. So I know that the chest is gonna be here. And which means I know like this shoulder is gonna be off screen, and like I know the chest here. I could draw a thicker rib cage. It's not necessarily needed because I can just draw everything else bigger, but I'm gonna sketch that in because I want to remember that this character is a lot bigger, a lot stockier. And then I don't even think you'll see the rib cage. You'll probably see a rib cage here. And then she's gonna have like glove handles, of course. And then you might not see much else. Her hips will probably be off. And then you're not even gonna really see her shoulder. You might see the slight portion of the deltoid. If that, and then like this part here, and then this will be off. This is going to be off the page, but I'm gonna draw it so that way I know what I'm looking at here. So, and then of course the banner is going to be between this particular character here and I think this character. So that would be the banner. It's not dead center, but once again, we're not working on perfection right now. Trying to figure some stuff out. Let me see. Trying to think if I should call it a day on this recording and then come back with a second recording. Just so that way this isn't taking a while, because I think we're over an hour. Let me check.